Do you believe that the president is mentally stable enough to be the commander-in-chief?
Did you ask the same question of Joe Biden for 4 years?
Mr. Secretary, Joe Biden is not the president. Mr. Trump has been president for a year and a half, and I'm asking you
did
right
not,
now.
and I won't even engage with the level of disparagement that you're putting on the commander-in-chief, who indeed is. Meeting
Mr.
him
Secretary,
every single day.
Mr. Secretary, Biden is not the president.
He's the sharpest, most insightful commander-in-chief we've had in generations. And you want to compare, you want to ask that question after you and your fellow Democrats defended Joe Biden, who could barely speak and didn't know what day of the week it was?
He
governed through an auto pen. He had a Secretary of Defense who went AWOL for a week. I can't be gone for 10 minutes.
I will reclaim my time.
Genlady's time. She's reclaimed it.
So, as Mr. Jimenez...
How did you explain to your constituents what happened on October 7th, or what happened in Afghanistan, or what happened with the debacle and the withdrawal in Afghanistan, where the troops were left? How did you explain that with Joe Biden's leadership?
Mr. Secretary,
how did you explain that to the Marines that didn't get medals, that we restored their medals because of that disastrous withdrawal in Afghanistan? Did you explain that to your constituents when Joe Biden was asleep at the wheel and he had an AWOL Secretary of Defense? I don't think you did.
What started as a question about President Donald Trump suddenly turned into one of the most brutal shutdowns Congress has seen in months. The moment a Democrat representative openly questioned Trump's mental stability as commander-in-chief, the atmosphere completely changed. Cameras stopped moving, lawmakers leaned forward, and millions watching online instantly realized this hearing was about to explode. But instead of folding under pressure, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth came out swinging. He refused to allow Democrats to frame Trump as unstable while ignoring years of questions surrounding former President Joe Biden. In one heated response after another, he accused Democrats of hypocrisy, blasted the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal, defended America's military strength, and made it crystal clear that he was not going to apologize for supporting Trump's leadership. The hearing instantly spiraled into total chaos. Voices clashed across the chamber. Accusations flew from every direction, and the tension inside the room became impossible to ignore. Let's dive in.
Mr. Secretary, as you know, I represent San Diego, the largest military community in the country. Right now, as we are speaking, 2,500 San Diego Marines are off the coast of Iran. Many other San Diegans in uniform have gotten 48-hour deployment notices. So this war in Iran is not theoretical for me or for my constituents. It's deeply personal. As you also know, on Easter Sunday, President Trump threatened to destroy Iran's bridges and power plants, writing, quote, "Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch." And 2 days later, President Trump wrote, quote, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will." My office's phones have been ringing off the hook. I've heard from so many military families concerned about the president's mental fitness and whether he's fit to serve as our commander-in-chief, given that he's sending their loved ones into harm's way. Our troops, who have shown incredible bravery and tactical proficiency, deserve to know that their leaders are focused and stable. So, Mr. Secretary, you are with the president a lot, and it pains me to even have to ask this about our president, but my constituents' lives are at stake. Do you believe that the president is mentally stable enough to be the commander-in-chief?
Did you ask the same question of Joe Biden for 4 years?
Mr. Secretary, Joe Biden is not the president. Mr. Trump has been president for a year and a half, and I'm asking you
did
right
not,
now.
and I won't even engage with the level of disparagement that you're putting on the commander-in-chief, who indeed is. Meeting
Mr. Secretary,
every single day.
Mr. Secretary, Biden is not the president.
He's the sharpest, most insightful commander-in-chief we've had in generations. And you want to compare, you want to ask that question after you and your fellow Democrats defended Joe Biden, who could barely speak and didn't know what day of the week it was?
As you know,
he governed through an auto pen. He had a Secretary of Defense who went AWOL for a week. I can't be gone for 10 minutes.
I will reclaim my time.
Genlady's time. She's reclaimed it.
So, as Mr. Jimenez said, we should be taking leaders at their word. So is there a reason that we should not be taking our leader at his word?
Iran should not underestimate the will of President Trump and the United States military to achieve our mission.
Okay, well, I want you to know this is not a partisan thing. In fact, many Democrats have had, many Republicans have had these same questions. Marjorie Taylor Greene said he's out of control and he's gone insane. Candace Owens said the 25th Amendment needs to be invoked. Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, who you used to work with, Alex Jones, Stephanie Grisham, the list could go on. So how do I explain to my constituents that while they are in harm's way, their commander-in-chief is posting these unhinged posts?
How did you explain to your constituents what happened on October 7th, or what happened in Afghanistan, or what happened with the debacle and the withdrawal in Afghanistan, where the troops were left? How did you explain that with Joe Biden's leadership?
Mr. Secretary,
how did you explain that to the Marines that didn't get medals, that we restored their medals because of that disastrous withdrawal in Afghanistan? Did you explain that to your constituents when Joe Biden was asleep at the wheel and he had an AWOL Secretary of Defense?
How about this next post? How can I explain this next post to my constituents? I'm Jewish, so this doesn't really bother me, but my understanding is that this is quite offensive to many Christians. So how do you explain this post?
I'm not here to explain posts. We have an incredible commander-in-chief who
Mr.
puts our
Secretary,
troops first. I'm here for a budget hearing about our troops.
This is
a historic budget that's giving us a chance to defeat
Mr. Secretary,
our adversaries,
Mr.
and President
Secretary,
Trump is doing that in world-class fashion.
This is
Gentle
about
lady
our
has
troops.
reclaimed her time, Mr. Secretary.
This is about our troops. This is about who is commanding our troops and if our troops can trust that they are being sent into harm's way under good strategy. The mental stability of our commander-in-chief is deeply important to our troops. It's deeply important to this country. It
wasn't important to you during Joe Biden.
At stake. I'll remind you that when there were concerns, Democrats came together, and he was not our nominee for president. So I encourage you to have the same courage that Democrats had. Mr. Secretary, you keep saying that he is the best commander-in-chief we've ever had, the best negotiator.
Talk to the troops.
13 American troops have died. More than 380 have been wounded. The Strait of Hormuz, which was wide open, is now closed. Less than 90% of traffic through the strait is still not going despite the ceasefire. The Iranian regime is still in power. It still has nuclear material. The war is costing Americans billions of dollars. And Mr. Secretary, if you think that this is what winning looks like, then maybe we should be questioning your mental stability. Maybe you are the one responsible for this failure, and the president should think about replacing you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back.
By the end of this explosive hearing, one thing became impossible to deny. Pete Hegseth never backed down for a single second, while Democrats tried to question President Donald Trump and shift the conversation toward personal attacks about mental stability. Hegseth stayed aggressive, focused, and unapologetic in defending the commander-in-chief and America's military leadership. Instead of allowing the hearing to become another one-sided political ambush, he turned the spotlight directly back onto the failures, chaos, and unanswered questions surrounding the Biden years. For many Americans watching, Pete Hegseth looked exactly like the kind of leader they want standing beside the troops during dangerous global tensions, confident under pressure, fearless in confrontation, and unwilling to cave to political intimidation. Even as the hearing became louder and more chaotic, Hegseth refused to retreat. He defended the military, defended the administration's strength abroad, and reminded the country that leadership during an international crisis requires toughness, resolve, and clarity, not panic and political theater. That is why this moment is exploding online. Supporters are calling it a complete shutdown of the anti-Trump narrative. Critics may disagree with his style, but even they cannot deny that Hegseth controlled the energy of the room and refused to let Democrats dictate the terms of the debate. In today's political climate, very few officials are willing to stand their ground under relentless attacks. Pete Hegseth did exactly that, and millions of Americans noticed. The real question now is not whether Hegseth defended President Trump effectively. The real question is whether Democrats completely underestimated who they were dealing with when they decided to challenge Pete Hegseth on national television. Let everyone know what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe for more explosive political showdowns and uncensored analysis.